Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. Before we get into the news today, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you, my dear Mandalorians who've been along for the ride on this amazing journey so far. We've surpassed 100,000 subs, and I'd be absolutely honoured if you would join me in the next step for another 100 and beyond. And of course, a special shout out and huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. I'm ever grateful for the fact that you choose to support what I do. I just wanted to take a moment to express my gratitude for every comment, every like, and every single subscriber. Thank you all a million times over. But with that said, my dear friends, and without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into the news. So I want you to think back to the other day where I dropped an exclusive scoop for the Andor series. I was told by my source that Amedda, the nominal leader of the Coruscant provisional government under Palpatine, is going to appear in Star Wars Andor. And at the time, I also mentioned that Bespin Bulletin reached out to me because they were going to write an article for Andor which is in line with my scoop. Well, they finally did so, guys, and they've released it too. It's really exciting. But before we get ahead of ourselves, they do premise this by saying to take it as a rumour because it's not from their usual source, and they also add that they do have more Andor news coming in the near future. So let's see what they had to say. Exclusive: Imperial Royal Guards to appear in Andor. Today I'm bringing you a small tidbit I've heard from Andor following a report by another content creator, though I must stress this is just a rumour and you should take it as so. I was first told of an Imperial Royal Guards appearance in Andor well over 6 months ago, but thought nothing much of it as the information did not come from a regular source. However, it's now something I've heard off and on for a number of months following, but not from my usual trustworthy sources, and that's why I'm stressing you take this information as a rumour. They then say the reason they're running this piece as a rumour is due to a recent report from Star Wars Meg. Hey, that's me. And they also cite the previous scoop I had for the Book of Boba Fett that Hutts were going to appear, and of course they did. And they say that I've heard that Amedda is making an appearance in the upcoming Rogue One spin-off Andor. And I mentioned the other day that his scenes are going to be set in the present day and not flashbacks. They say the setting that they were told the Royal Guards were going to appear was that of the Senate. So with Meg's report, that's me, and the information they were told, the two reports seem to support each other. Now this has been circulating on Reddit and Twitter, and many Star Wars fans are wondering if we're going to see the Imperial Royal Guards. Are we going to see Darth Vader or Palpatine? Personally, I really don't know, guys. I'm not going to rule it out though, because as we know, Ian McDiarmid was reportedly filming scenes for Star Wars last year. This is not confirmed, it's just a rumour. But let's not jump the gun. It's a small possibility, but if it's true, that's going to be huge. Bespin Bulletin also share these sentiments that we should not assume that Palpatine is going to appear. After all, these guards have previously accompanied Amedda in the Star Wars comics and were guarding Darth Vader in Rogue One. Amedda at this point, of course, is acting as the voice of the Emperor, especially on Coruscant, and at this stage Palpatine took a much more reclusive role, and Amedda would act as the primary administrator of the Imperial bureaucracy, as well as the Imperial ruling council. They finish by saying they are currently sitting on some more information for the Andor show, and they're pretty certain of it because it comes from trustworthy sources. They say they're going to release this soon, and as always guys, I will keep you updated, so make sure to hit subscribe and hit that bell so that you never miss a single upload. But that's not the only piece of news that we have for the Andor series, because we also have a production update for Season 2. Now you're probably wondering, why are we hearing about production on Season 2 when Season 1 isn't even out yet? Well, production on Season 1 has been complete for a very long time. Our first 12 episodes of the show, so Season 1, is expected this August, but Tony Gilroy's been working on the writing for Season 2 for quite some time, and now according to MakingStarWars.net, Andor Season 2 is going to begin production in November at the iconic Elstree Studios. Elstree Studios in Hertfordshire, the UK, has an enormous cinematic legacy. The Shining, Indiana Jones, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Batman, and so on were all filmed at Elstree. But there is one peculiar aspect of this news. They say production is going to last for 18 months. That is extraordinarily long, making Star Wars believe that this is because they're going to be filming 2 seasons in a row. As has been reported in the past, Tony Gilroy has a 3-season arc planned for the Andor show. But there's also the possibility they're going to use Elstree in that time to film some of Rogue Squadron. This is still a developing story and not many more details are known. And so now, my dear friends, some excellent news for Obi-Wan Kenobi. As I mentioned a couple of days ago, there was a rumour swelling round that Natalie Holt, who composed Loki, was going to be the composer for the Kenobi series. This has now been officially confirmed by Vanity Fair, and she has opened up about the composing, producing, and recording process for Kenobi. There are some true gems in this article, notably mentioning the role of John Williams, so let's get straight into it. So right off the bat, it's very clear that Natalie is very humble. She speaks about how thrilling it is to work on Star Wars, but also to be mentioned in the same breath as the great John Williams. She said, quote, "I want to pay respect to the history of it and do it justice as well." Now, the first thing that Vanity Fair were dying to know is if we've heard any of her music in the trailer, but she says no, it's all still under wraps. The music in the trailer is Duel of the Fates from The Phantom Menace, and of course we also heard an epic version of Battle of the Heroes. To her, John Williams is an absolute icon and her biggest inspiration. She cites E.T., Raiders and Jurassic Park as the music that most influenced her in her journey. She's perfect for the Kenobi series because she's a violinist and comes from that orchestral background. And in case you don't know guys, and I found this out on John Williams' fan site, these days John prefers working with violinists than any other musician. For him, composition on the piano and violin comes first and foremost, before the brass, the winds, and so on. Now, interestingly enough, John Williams expressed to Kathleen Kennedy and Natalie Holt the fact that he wants to write a new Kenobi theme. Originally, the Force theme that you hear in A New Hope was called Ben Kenobi's theme, but for this series he wanted to start again and write a unique theme for Obi-Wan. In her own words, Natalie recalls John coming up to Kathleen Kennedy and her, and he says, quote, "I just want to write Benny a theme. I love that he calls him Benny. Good old Benny Kenobi." Now, when she describes the new theme for Obi-Wan Kenobi, she says it's reflective and entirely appropriate. It distills what the show's about in just the perfect way that John Williams can. It's wistful, but there's also an element of hope to it. And I've got to say guys, get the tissues out because she also says the show's soundtrack is very emotional. About the score, she said it does have its roots in the Star Wars tradition, a little more than The Mandalorian does. While she said she respected Ludwig Göransson's score for The Mandalorian, this one's going to be much more at home with the original Star Wars films. And get this, they had a collection of 250 horns and flutes. 250, that's insane guys. And apparently the hunting horn is also prominent. But it's not just going to be orchestra, she's also going to add some synth sounds. And in her own words she says it's definitely what we're used to, and we're also adding a few new elements. Of the dark side themes for the dark side characters, she teases it's haunting, it's going to make us shudder. Ooh, I can't wait. And finally she was asked, did you incorporate any particular cultural or musical influences from the real world? And she says it's always a thing with Star Wars, finding that Dixieland piece in the cantina. It's taking things we're familiar with on Earth and giving them a twist. So there's some of that with some instruments and some of the themes. And she also hints at Latin influences. And listen guys, it really sounds like she understands what makes Star Wars special musically. You really can't go wrong with such a talented violinist, composer and conductor. Her enthusiasm is simply contagious. I'm truly grateful to Vanity Fair because this was one of the most revealing interviews that we've had for the show, especially in terms of what it's going to feel like, the music, which is really the heart and soul of all Star Wars. And we're just so lucky that in 2022, John Williams is still composing for our beloved franchise. As much as the score was great for episode 9, I'm so glad The Rise of Skywalker was not his final score for Star Wars. I don't know about you guys, but I'm truly hyped. But with that said, my dear friends, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. What did you think about the two topics we covered? If you enjoyed this one, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up. It truly helps out the channel. Also be sure to subscribe. And if you want more videos that you cannot find here on YouTube, then why not click that link down below? But until tomorrow, my dear friends, may the Force be with you always. I'm Star Wars Meg. Have an amazing day no matter where you are in the galaxy.